I'm digging it.
Which one?
This one.
Oh, the one I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That front. I've got a potato truck that looks just like that one. It's a 1949 International.
He said he was going to beat my ass and take it from me and give it to his friend.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
That's what he said. He said he's a diehard Budweiser fan.
Yeah.
He would take this shirt right off my back.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a giving dude.
Nice. Giving that thing a workout. All your equipment over there is being tested to its max.
Why is everybody concentrating on what I'm doing?
Well, we're all sitting still. Yeah.
I'm here for the show.
And
I
you,
want to know the inception of Keegan Dale before we get recording.
Yeah, we're not recording, right?
yeah.
We've been recording since you got here. So. No, there's nothing live. But
So, going back to the Dave era, the Master Chief I just talked about, that was our first big show we did was FDIC. So we had bought 2 dummies to display our gear on. And he's like, well, if we're going to take these guys, we need they need a name, you know? So we came up with Kevin and Carl. And I don't remember what their last names were, but at the end of the day, it was kind of hit it hard from this yard, kind of heyday. So their initials were KD. So they had been begging me to do a TikTok, and I'm like, I called it TikTok as the China social media. I'm not really
Right.
no into this, blah, blah, blah. So they convinced me by showing some things that were happening in the leather world on TikTok that we needed to get one because the Carol Baskins of leather was, performing well and things like
I've
that.
heard you speak of that before.
Yeah. So they're like, Jacob's like, well, I can play somebody stupid. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm like, well, that's fine, but your initials have to be KD, so you got to pick up your name. So it's just kind of everybody threw around names in the shop, and we came up with Keegan. And then, of course, we're from Mooresville and NASCAR and Redneck, so, of course, Dale the
Damn
third.
right. Yeah.
3 for Dale. So
Mhm.
that's where Keegan
So it's
Dale
officially
came
Keegan Dale the third.
from. Yes.
Third. Yeah.
Yes.
Where are the predecessors?
I don't know.
Yeah. Just senior and junior.
Yeah,
I like
you
it.
know what I'm saying?
So it's funny. I mean, people have figured out his real name. I don't know how, but he gets random weird friend requests.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, like some chubby dude,
yeah.
like stalking.
There
me
was
for a while.
one guy
It
that was
weird.
completely infatuated with him.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was awkward.
For him or for you?
I mean, he liked it, but
I mean, yeah, like I gave him a Snapchat, so
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
He's in there.
Yeah, it's steps.
good.
You having
He's
issues
subscribed
over
to
there,
my
Tony?
friends.
You having issues over there?
Yeah.
It's cutting in and out. You might have to pull it out and lick it. I know it's not the first time you've heard that, but maybe lick your finger, then lick that end. It's weird.
Or we could be Jacob on the airplane.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Well, look, I had no clue the mic was backwards. Okay,
I'm like, dude, I
it
can't
had
hear
a
a fucking
cover
word
on
you're
it.
saying.
It had a cover on it, so it's not like it's like you can tell that's the
Yeah.
bottom, this is the top. No, it's completely covered, so it looks the same on both ends. And until I pulled that off and looked at it, then I could tell which way I needed it to go.
I understand your flight here was the first time you've been on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
Ever?
Ever.
How old are you?
25.
How's that
he
possible?
jumped once. This is the second highest
I,
he's ever
I
been.
live in Harmony, North Carolina.
Yeah.
If you know anything about Harmony, you'll understand why I've never been on an airplane.
Okay.
Not many airports in Harmony.
Yeah, actually, there's 3.
Yeah, just never drove to one and got on an airplane.
No, I mean, there's no planes.
Yeah.
There's just 3 airstrips.
Yeah.
They're only used during farming season.
That's right,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Or wartime.
Yeah, they
maybe.
just like
Yeah.
mow down some corn, and make a runway, and
Yeah.
you're good to go.
That's
Perfect.
outstanding.
That's perfect. Those crop dusters have been pretty active around my area lately. But I watched, I'm sure probably the 2 people who are into flying in the room maybe can shed some light on this, but I've heard out west they're starting to use crop dusters for seeding. as well.
Cloud seating.
Cloud seating. So there you go. It's got a name. Educate me. Bring it around. That's
There you
right.
go.
Let's share.
Check.
Yeah, dude, you're on.
Yeah.
Hold that for him, Keegan.
So there is a YouTube video out there that
Jesus.
it talks about that, and like they put the chemical in the crop duster and they go up and seed the clouds. And we were talking about that on the way here. Dubai is doing that because they don't have a lot of rain out there, so they'll go out and seed the clouds with. I don't know if they use crop dusters, but they definitely do the cloud seeding for sure.
That's very interesting.
That is wild, man.
Tony, at what point did you become
Troy.
Troy? Sorry.
Yeah.
God bless. It's like that already.
Hey, Tony.
Troy.
Hey, Tony.
Sorry.
Don't know the pizza
My
in the oven.
apologies, Troy. I apologize. Troy, when did you become the personal pilot for these guys?
Today.
Oh,
Yeah.
Today.
He was hired a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
No interview.
Yeah.
No experience necessary.
I got a plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He watched Cars,
Yeah.
and they had an airplane on
Yeah.
there.
So Justin, he just he hit me up. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Hey, would you be interested in going to Wilmington for a podcast? I was like, huh?
Yeah.
What do you mean? And I just rolled with it, and so here we are.
Did you know what a podcast was?
I
Previous?
did.
You did.
I did.
Okay.
But I didn't know like the connection with y'all, and him, and how you met. So now I know.
Perfect.
You met
Awesome.
in Safra?
Safer. Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah.
hmm
He used to be one of Harold's boys.
I did. Yeah.
Nice. Good deal.
Back
And then
in the-
y'all worked together back in the day.
Yeah, so we went through recruit school together. Got out, got the first truck assignment. We had 2 rookies on the same truck.
Yep.
And he hated me and kicked me off.
I did.
Well, you've got the mic in front of your face right now. Let's get a little origin story from you.
As far as fire service or
Or whatever.
family?
Just you.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've been in the fire service for 17 years and have an 18-month-old girl. She was born 2 weeks before COVID, so we still had a normal life in the hospital. And I got a wife of 6 years now.
Don't mess this up.
Yeah. Right. That's a tough one.
Wife of 6 years, and we live in Troutman, North Carolina.
Okay. Good deal.
Nice.
Anything?
What's Troutman near?
It's like, you know where Statesville is, right?
I do.
It's right below, between
Outskirts.
Statesville and Mooresville.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
We don't want to be
Is there
scummy like
anything
Statesville.
else that, like, maybe I should say?
I don't
or
know.
That y'all look for?
What got you into flying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty interesting little piece.
I've always wanted to be a pilot, and my grandfather was a pilot, and so it just, I started taking training and chipped at it one day at a time for 12 months, and finally got my license. And here I am.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, do you have your private?
Nope.
Okay.
No, right before the economy did its thing in 08 and 09, money got real tight, so I had to squeeze down. And
Right.
then I got the job with the fire department. So I've got 90-some hours in, and I just need to do a little refresher, then
Yeah.
get a check ride.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Probably
I
wouldn't
miss
take you
it.
much.
I know,
'cause
I
It's
don't
one of
think
those
so.
things you don't never forget.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, cool.
Slide that back around to Keegan.
I'll hold it for you.
Shouldn't have to hold it on his side.
Yes.
That's right. Yes, weighted that way.
That's
Wait
right,
on this
yeah.
way.
When are we going live?
When are we going live?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We can go live anytime you want to.
That's good.
Live
Yeah.
on TikTok or
Yeah.
live period?
You don't even have a TikTok yet.
You're right. We don't.
Yeah.
What's your origin story, Mr. Keenan? What do you do for a
Keegan.
living?
I beat dead cows.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's on the TikTok.
Yeah,
side,
no,
yeah.
I was but prior to this, I was a diesel mechanic. I worked on semis, and I kind of just got tired of turning wrenches, I guess. And I just, company I was working for shut its doors, the whole, everything. So he posted a job. He used to work up Harmony where I'm at, and I was like, hey, I'll throw it in and see what we got, and here we are.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's outstanding. Is working with leather? It seems to me like it'd be a very rewarding thing, like seeing something take a shape. Was it the environment, like a cool working environment, or was it like the reward of creating something out of, a material?
It was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great work environment. I mean, come from what I've come from and everything else. It's amazing. It's completely amazing. Can't say a bad word about it.
Suck up.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It really is. And then, yeah, it's cool seeing it come in as a raw side of leather and leave out as a a customized product, or whether it be in stock still with no customization. It's still cool to see the process from where it comes from to where it ends up.
Yeah, usable
Yeah.
device or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That's cool.
I would even say a device that serves a very important purpose.
Yeah.
All of the products that y'all put out serve a very important purpose for us. That's pretty neat. The man of the hour.
I'm just here, man.
You're not just here,
I'm just here.
Mr. Justin. Fully Involved Leatherworks.
Yep.
Right? So what brought that about?
Oh, let's go back to even mine and Troy's days. Started out as a fireman. My grandpa was a fireman. My dad was a fireman. This was I was supposed to be a 30-year and out guy. Eat, sleep, breathe it. Stopped playing football. Junior year of high school. Saved my knees. Went and got my firefighter 1 and 2. Came out of high school. Tried to graduate early. Get in the hiring party. 18 years old, I got picked up. Had 4 different job offers. Within about a month of each other, where I was at Mooresville, Statesville, which is a little north of us, and Salisbury, which is good department. They burn a lot, very aggressive guys. Just the pay and maybe the city council is kind of in the news still today. Kind of a good fireman, not so much pay. So I got those 3 offers. Then about a week and a half each other. Went through recruit school, got out. My dad passed away my first day on shift.
Damn.
Massive heart
Jesus.
attack.
Yeah.
At the same time, my mom had breast cancer. I actually heard the call go out from my house and thought it was my mom because she was suffering from breast cancer. So from there, I kind of grew up really fast, ish. I guess faster than I should have, but at the same time, I was still 19, 20 years old riding a fire truck. Look back at it and say, I rode a fire truck at 19 years old and, had an impact on decisions that were made and stuff like that. You still look back and you're like, yeah, you're probably too immature to make those decisions. But from there, rode a fire truck, did the normal life stuff, got married, had a kid. Of course, struggled paycheck to paycheck, tried to, work part-time, different volunteer fire departments to make a living. Got kind of burnt out on that. It was just, I started to see myself losing a little bit of passion for the job from just riding fire truck to fire truck to fire truck to fire truck over and over. Kind of lucked up on an opportunity at work with a company that sold fire equipment online. It was a startup company, had, the 2 owners that had started it, and got in with them very early. Kind of got to the point where it was, I was giving them all. I was treating it like I was my own. Kind of managing the warehouse, the shipments. We were making fire hose, doing all kind of stuff. And it just kind of got to the point where I was like, I'm just not getting the financial reward out of this that I really should. So things kind of came to a head. I wound up saying, hey, look, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna step back for a month, and you guys figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out, and we'll kind of come back together.
The fit just wasn't right.
I thought I was that all-star. I thought I was that all-star employee that they would call me in a week and say, hey, we're dying over here. Can you come back and upright the ship? It's sinking.
Right.
They never did call me, until that month, and we had a talk, and we both agreed that, this just wasn't going forward. So kind of learned a lot about that as well. Good people, not so great business management, but that's a whole other story. So from there, I took my time off, and my son was into like junior rodeos and stuff, so I was already repairing a lot of leather goods as it was, and already had a little bit of tools, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take this time, I'm gonna got really nothing to do other than pick up my kids after school on my days off. So I'm gonna make something for myself. So first stuff wasn't pretty. I got horse laughed. You know, letters were crooked. It looks like crap. It's, you know. So I just kept on. A couple guys, you know, there at the fire station asked me to make them a couple things, and from there it kind of, you know, with every product got better. We were actually talking about that at lunch, how, you know, Troy actually has probably the OG of the radio straps that we have. So we started kind of making a couple different things, and then kind of settled with his on what we were going to do. And that's where we started dyeing the text and stitching the edges and things like that. But so from there, this was a part-time gig for me. You know, we'd get off and fulfill orders, and I grew as a person, as a company, understanding the customer service and the core values. And that's when I really kind of set core values where we are here. At the same time, I'm still riding a fire truck, and you know, having a good time doing that. I still would love to jump on a fire truck right now if I could. Fast forward, you know, I had 10 guys working for me on my day off. I'm trying to do a career. I need to promote to make some more money, and it just wasn't. I was kind of blemished between going one way or the other. So my wife was pregnant with her third child, and I always sat there on the truck and made fun of those guys that took a lot of time off when they had a newborn child. Like, man, come on, like, you didn't deliver this thing.
Right.
Get back on the truck. It's every third day kind of thing. So originally signed up for 2 weeks off, and wound up dragging that out to 12 weeks because I was getting stuff done. I was getting ahead. I was seeing how the business was growing. We were doing good things. And at the same time, I'm paying a guy to manage the business while I'm at the fire department more than I'm making riding a fire truck. So it only made sense to move away from that. There were a couple things that were holding me in. One was lifetime insurance. I got in when that was still a thing, kind of unheard of now. But the guy that handles, that was kind of my advisor on that, he said, "Look, I got to ask you 2 questions. You know, is the insurance getting any cheaper, and is it getting any better?" I was like, "No, it's not. It's only more expensive and crappier."
Right.
And that's the whole world in general. It's not just the fire service. It wasn't just my department. Excuse me. But so that's kind of when I made the decision. Like, I'm gonna hang it up. I've done my time. I'm gonna hang it up. From there, you know, business has been crazy straightforward. Adding new people, growth, new products. Only trying to get better. Only trying to, you know, focus on those core values of what I believed in. I think a lot of through the fire service, I worked for a lot of different captains or leaders or whatever you want to call those guys. And some of those guys I wouldn't really call leaders. I had some really great captains. We had great crews. We had just dynasties, that there's no other way to put it, that we were together for years. Our kids grew up together. And I worked for some of the crappiest captains too, but at the end of the day, I think I learned more from guys like James that were just not that great. That I learned more from them about how to treat employees, how to get people's buy-in, how, you know, all the fundamentals of leadership that are there. And so that's kind of my story.
The lead up, the guy that gave you the like the 2 questions, you know, about the insurance and about the money. So many people, everybody that's in the fire department has a side job, right?
Oh yeah.
And then a decision, like a life-changing decision, was there, you think there was months or years of just kind of bouncing around the idea before the questions were posed to you?
So, I mean, we were pretty successful for the last 3 to 4 years. I was on my truck, and I never wanted to be that guy that was so far disconnected from a side job that he didn't function at the firehouse. Everybody functions on the fire truck.
Right.
But functioning at the firehouse is different than functioning at the fire truck.
That's an extremely
the
good
same.
point. Yeah.
Very.
so I never wanted to be that guy. I always tried to be involved. I tried to, if I could pick up a higher back, I would pick it up. If whatever it was, find that training to go to, whatever that was, I always try to do that, and I did that pretty successfully. The last 6 months, I would say, I kind of had it in the back of my head, and it had been said for years, like, why are you still here? When are you leaving? There's always that firehouse, banter, I guess you would say. If they know you've got something jam up going on, they're gonna be like, hey man, when are you leaving? When are you leaving? Whatever their angle is, they want your riding assignment, they want your promotion, they want whatever that is. They're always asking, and that had been happening for a couple of years, but it was really. I was always, up until my daughter was born, I was always like, I don't see myself leaving. I'll keep managing it. But just the amount of like how much easier the business growth was during that 12 weeks and how much better things got and how much easier it was with my fully devoted attention is really what got me there. And I think it's a scary thing for a lot of guys to go out on their own. It's you're giving up you're giving up a guaranteed paycheck every 2 weeks, a guaranteed retirement, a guaranteed insurance, a guaranteed everything.
A security blanket.
Yeah, it's a security blanket. There's some guys that have left that you're like, really? That was not a very smart move. Why would you do that? I never really got that from the guys. I don't know that anybody's like, that was a dumb move, just because of where we were at and where we were headed. And I think by me holding back on that and almost making the decision make itself for me,
Right.
helped prove that and help validate that as well.
Yeah. I don't know if you're down with this. I'm kind of wanting to chase this rabbit for a second. I don't ever want to be accused of like leading people away from the fire department.
I don't either.
At the same time, we're kind of sensitive to the mental health side of everything.
Yeah.
I want people to make decisions that are good for them.
Yeah.
And if a long career in the fire department is it, outstanding.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I want a long career in the fire department.
No doubt.
At the same time, if you're presented
I
with
still want a long career in the fire department.
right? Yeah. If
just
it's
not
good
lined
for
up.
you to make a move, then make your move. Like
Yeah.
obviously this thing's working out excellent for you.
Yeah.
You're putting a great product back into the fire service. So people are appreciating it. Like you're still helping people in a different way. I mean, having a sweet leather strap or a radio strap is awesome, but it's also, now we know through studies, like a safety device.
Yeah. And
You know?
that's, I think that was part of what made it easy is I'm in a different circus, but I still deal with the same clowns.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like we're servicing the same goal. I'm still tied in the industry, and I think that made it a little easier for me. Instead of chiefs calling me into their office, chiefs call and ask me questions from their office. That's really the difference there.
Yeah. No
the
kidding.
irony.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome. I'm glad that you were presented with that question, like the thing that made you make a decision. Imagine if you went years, didn't make the call, didn't let the company grow because you were holding on to that security, the 2-week paycheck and all that. Now you're employing a group of guys and doing great things. Life is bigger than just the fire department.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to steer people away from it. It's just,
By all means, no. And I think me and Matt kind of breached on this on the phone the other day. We were kind of planning out the logistics of this, but the fire service is a great career, and like you said 100 times, by no means do I say, okay, quit your job. But I think as a fire service, we've got to identify. My dad and grandpa were around in the fire service. It was almost you almost took a scar on your name if you got out before you're 30 or before you met your time out, whether that was age and time, whatever that is. But
Or the job killed you.
Right.
It's changing. I mean, you're seeing more and more guys get out of the career side of it. I feel like in the last 5 years than you have before. And what is the what is the magic factor in that? What's drawing that? I think everybody has their opinion, but there's a lot of things that are contributing to that I think if the fire service doesn't adapt and change a little bit, it's just going to be another job. We're not going to have the passion. We're not going to have the guys that go to training on their day off that really make the difference, that gain the experience outside of what they're getting paid for. And everything that I feel like every one of us at this table were kind of taught as peewees in the fire service. You know, the extra training, that just going above and beyond. Is it a generational problem? Is it a financial change? There's 1,000 things we could sit there and talk about with that, but what is it that's making guys leave the fire service?
Yeah, that's a deep, big old question. I have all these like instinctive answers, but without thinking them through, I hate to throw them down on the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's see. Troy, you look like you got something you want to say.
I was just gonna go back to it was way back from when Justin was talking, but I just remember him when he started his business. When did you start it? 7-8 years ago?
2014.
So yeah, he come in with his toolbox full of paint,
Yeah.
and a couple of times got some paint on the carpet. So moved out into the bay and
Fire
painted,
chief was not happy about that one.
painted some shields out there. But you know, being a business owner myself, I've owned my, it's been 10 years since I started mine up. But seeing him progress so quickly and so fast, and it kind of made me look up to him a little bit as a business owner. Dang, Cable can do this, I can do that too. So I'm just now getting to the point to where I'm getting employees just by looking at Justin, saying, well, if he can do it, I can do that too. And it's not a competition thing because we're two completely different businesses, but it's just something that you look to your peer to, or you look, I consider him a friend, and I'm honestly freaking proud of him. So it was just cool seeing him progress in 5 or 6 years to the point where he's doing what he's doing now.
And it goes both ways.
It's pretty cool.
We've had late night conversations on the phone or whatever of this is kind of going on. And I've realized maybe things he's done different than I have that I've screwed up at the beginning, and that's a change I can still make later on, with that. So I think the respect goes both ways, and look at those guys, and if that's where you're at, look at those guys in your fire station, ask them questions. There's nothing lucrative about what I've done. I've just tried to stick to my same goals, and Troy's on a great path as well.
Remember you said the early pieces that you made, you got a little negative feedback.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You ever heard that rule of if you wouldn't go to someone for advice, then why do you really care about their opinion?
Yeah.
That one, it passes the smell test. You
Yeah.
know, like
Oh, yeah.
if you're making a decision like career-wise or anything, and you got your trusted network and you kind of submit it to the group, and if you end up with feedback from that group, I'll trust that.
Yeah.
But if it's just feedback from somebody that maybe I wouldn't go ask them for a question, then I'm not going to value that. Everybody in the beginning of whatever venture is going to get some negative feedback.
Oh yeah, it's all about learning, and that was, it was new. I was trying different things. I was trying to. Anybody can kind of look at the industry or whatever they're going to, whether you're building cars, houses, whatever you're building, you can go look and say, okay, well, this is how they did that.
Mm-hmm.
With a little bit of research and understanding, to take it and say, okay, that's how they did that, but I don't like that. I'm going to do something. I'm going to build this house out of straw. You know what I mean?
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's just different. It's going to come with some repercussions. There was guys that were in my inner circle that was like, you should just stop. You're going to embarrass yourself. All the way to guys that were in my circle that were like, hell yeah, I'll buy it even if it looks like shit. This is a good experience.
Yeah.
And, some of those guys are still around today and still my best customers, even the ones that hated. They show up at the shop, I promise.
Right.
You know,
I believe that could be a tidbit of kind of maybe a portion of the question that you had earlier was why there's so many good guys leaving the fire services. The good guys in the fire service, however you want to coin that, I can't even begin to put a metric of how you measure a good guy in the fire service, but they thrive on success. Whether it's in the fire service career, they see people doing successful things outside of that lets them know that there's other opportunities.
yeah,
They're always going for success. So if it's a point to be successful outside of the fire service, that's attractive to them, right?
Yeah.
Y'all are great examples of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were incredible firemen, without a doubt. But you were able to find successful adventures outside of that, and you're going for success. It's probably might be something that's in our blood,
Yeah.
or the go-getter type. Neither one of y'all seem like the type that are going to sit in the yard and spray water. Right now, you can put your chin down, and you're going to go get it.
yeah.
It just kind of correlates and parallels with the same thing with business.
Well,
Yeah,
I think having the haters too, having the folks that don't believe in you, that gives us some gasoline.
Absolutely.
So that's the way I look at it. That's definitely the case for me. I don't think I'll ever pull a trigger like Kegel did to get out of the fire service. I like the job too much, but I just enjoy the firehouse. I just enjoy it. So whether that day comes or not, I don't think it will, but we'll see. We'll see what the future holds.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things that weigh in that decision,
Yeah, and a lot of things. I'm a completely different case than I think most people, because we literally work in a firehouse. You can ask Keegan. It's a firehouse. We pull pranks. You have to have thick skin. It's the firehouse mentality that is brought to the shop that's not corporate America. And I've interviewed guys for job positions that come out of the military and other things that are around the fire service, may not be the fire service, but like, I really like this feel. I really like, this is just, it's fun. We get work done, but it's still fun. I'm not all about, this is not corporate America. It would not last very long as corporate America.
yeah. Smiles on faces is worth a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, as an outsider too, never worked for Justin before, but he has had these same employees, minus 2 or 3 people, for 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
I mean, those folks have been there since the beginning, so that says a lot, alone. So, it's a good, from the outside, it's a good place, So
What are some of the things you're kind of noticing from the outside looking back in of how fire services kind of, taking steps in either direction, good or bad? Because everything we do is not bad and change. But
that's something we all learned from day one, is the fire service always evolving, always doing something different. I do. I get a lot of. The biggest thing I'm seeing is guys are leaving, and is that from whatever they may consider change in leadership, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent. Is that from guys who maybe feel like they're a leader but have never been allowed to expose that because of their rank or position or whatever they are? The benefits aren't what they used to be. When is the city going to step up and say, look, you're making crap. Let's make this better. Better healthcare, better this, better that. I've heard more talk about it since COVID came than ever. You got guys that are burn out. They're working extra overtime. This rule's changing. We're always, and COVID's new, and I'm not trying to go down a COVID path at all, but it does seem, as an employee, I can see how it feels like the bar is always changing on what are the rules today, and this happened, but this cancels this out, and well, he got quarantined. Why didn't I get quarantined? Or he didn't get quarantined and I got quarantined. There's 1,000 different things that I don't think are good for the mental aspect of the fire service. There's already enough as it is without dealing with that.
I got a couple of things that I think hearing you talk about it kind of threw a couple of thoughts in there. If you look at the sale, like when you advertise for, hey, we need some firemen for the whatever department.
Yep.
There's a sale that goes out. You're gonna fight fire. You're gonna go and save people. Like there's an expectation
Yep.
when you're applying, and then you get there, and things are a lot different than what you expect. So should we really be surprised that a certain number of folks get their 3, 4, 5 years in, realize that 90% medical calls, and then maybe some management issues happen. You ever notice that that chiefs who grew up in the fire service in the time before training hour requirements,
Yeah.
before medical calls, and then it's like they were able to march in and go fight fire, go do all the cool stuff, and then they get into a chief spot, and then suddenly it's about safety.
Yep.
And we got to put the department first before the victim. And it's like, when was that? When did we change that rule?
Yeah.
Stuff like that, you let that get in your brain, and you're like, what am I even here for? So if I bet if you polled 100 guys that left early, not particularly in your situation, that was a pretty smart decision, and I stand behind it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But that like generic amount of people that are leaving, if you ask them why, I wonder if it is from that bait and switch on, hey, you get to be a fireman, you get to do these things.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
By the way,
do
yeah.
all this other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody can contest that. I've always said, my career was kind of summarized by the first and last call of my career. The first call we went to a working fire. The last call I got up at 4:30 in the morning to switch over the air conditioning to heat for a perfectly competent, mentally and physically competent 40-year-old lady.
Yeah.
And at the time, that was her emergency, and I get that. I understand that, but was that really worth, my $500,000 engine and 4 guys getting out of bed at 4:30 in the morning
Sure.
to do that? Was
Right.
that really an emergency? At what point does the fire service say no for the sake of our guys? We've never said no. Never. Anyway, from hazmat back in the 80s all the way to anything. I mean, firemen are flying drones now. When do we say no, we're going to focus on our job and be good at our job? I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but at some point you've got to say no. You can only give so much before you got to take something.
It seems like we're trying to be. Seems like we're trying to be really good at a vast array of things rather than focusing on being great
Yep.
at what our core is. And that is,
No doubt.
however, obviously different departments around the country, their core services they provide are going to vary.
Yeah.
But instead of taking on all these other tasks and not being able to say no, you try to be good at all these things and serve the best of your capacity, but you end up suffering in the aspect of where your core service values are and where your core service provider is.
Yeah.
And
The first time I had a thought of, is this job, do I need to be here? Do I need to participate in this?
Yeah.
I was on a rescue company, and we didn't know what was on fire, but multiple callers, and one was like grass fire, one was building fire, one was I think there was a repeat grass fire, but anyway,
Yeah.
multiple callers, something's on fire.
Yeah.
And we were on the truck, and I'm like, hey, just head that way. It got dispatched in an area that was the road name was our district, but they dispatched the city's engine, and they have like a little short section on that road. So like, let's just head that way and see. And man, we rounded the turn. Beautiful column of black. I mean, something's getting it.
Yeah.
So engine one pulls up. It's a tugboat, 75-footer, half involved based on the size up. and he called for another engine company. Probably should have called for a structural alarm, but
Yeah.
either way, he called for
It's a
help.
floating house at this point.
Yeah, this thing's massive. So, because, in my opinion, because I had the wherewithal to hear the information and think we might be of service, we headed that way. I saw it, offered Battalion 1, hey, we're close by if you need some help. Absolutely. So we get on it. The guys were stretching a 2.5. Give you an idea how much fire there was.
Yeah.
Stretching 2.5, and my crew established 2 in, 2 out, and we put the fire out in pretty short order because we were able to aggressively attack with the 2 out, and I got written up for reasons that are pretty hard to explain.
Yeah.
And after that whole thing went down, I'm like, I'm not sure if my brain is in line with the service that we're providing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar story. I mean, we've had them, at work where we were actually talking about that the other day, yesterday at lunch, I think, a particular incident. And I wasn't a frequent flyer of the chief's office, but he definitely knew my name.
Yeah.
And
you knew where it was.
Yeah, I knew where it was. I didn't need to be shown.
Yeah.
And I guess my question to you in that situation was, I understand our mission and our goal and where our department, our whatever you're in is heading and what our policies are. I was always taught there are some policies that may need to be broken every once in a while. I think it's up to here. When did we can't lay emergency services out on 10, 100, or 1,000 pieces of paper and say this is the right call for everything.
Yeah, there's no Excel spreadsheet that's going to cover all the.
There's nothing. That is the fortunate part of at the fire service. At the fire service versus the leather shop, I can sit down and I can say, okay, this is how we're going to do it, and this is where it's boxed, and there is no outside the box because it's always the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've never ran the same call from a fire truck. I've never had to make the same call on a fire scene. I've never, it's always a little different, and there's some factor in that. You could take wind and put it in 12 different scenarios and make 12 different calls out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be anything from a finger boo-boo to a structure fire. It's going to greatly depend. So I always kind of took the mentality of, okay, if this is what I'm getting rid of, did I do anything wrong? Was it a good outcome? Did I affect anybody's safety by it? Those kind of things. If you got to write me up, dude, I get it. You got a job. We'll agree to disagree. We'll shake hands. I'll buy you a beer when we get off shift.
Right.
That's fine, but I never took that to heart. And I think there are a lot of guys out there that do take that to heart. And I think there's a lot of administration that just really harps on that power train of, I'm going to beat you down because I can, because I've got you by the book. I've got you by the nails.
Yeah.
And it's one thing for me to have a conversation with you about it, and we can document it. Hey, look, I understand why you did what you did. At the end of the day, as my chief, I can't condone this activity. Here's the policy you broke. Here's why you broke it. Do you understand? Okay. Here, I need you to sign this. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Where we really get in a problem is you start affecting guys' paychecks with that. You start affecting guys' promotions and evaluations and all that kind of stuff. And is that right, wrong, or indifferent? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I'm not, you guys may talk to somebody later on that has the answer to that. I don't know that. But I never took a lot of that really to heart. At the end of the day, I felt like I had an internal compass to what I did. Most of the things I did were wrong, and I'll openly admit that, especially when you look at it from a second point of view.
Yeah.
It is. It was, I didn't get to work on time. I forgot to check my truck off, or whatever that may be. The little piddly stuff. But we had an incident like that at work one time, and I'm like, look, Would you do it again? Did we do the right thing? Was it best for the damn customer? Because that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I'll take the beating.
Mm-hmm.
That pencil doesn't hurt, I promise. But did we do the best damn job we could for the customer? If we did, I'll do it again. I'm not going to advertise that. But that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
You hired me to protect these people.
Mm-hmm.
And I protected them. Nobody got hurt. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't crazy. Now, there are situations where people do things that are crazy or lack of thinking or lack of training or lack of understanding. I get it.
Yeah. What you got on your mind?
Oh man, I'm sitting here trying to play out how to say this as properly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think I just broke that rule.
no, you didn't. I've said worse. I promise.
Uh-huh.
The part that you were speaking about, when you were talking about how the Chiefs, maybe their approach to what they deem or what they see as inappropriate or not, just like your situation, customer service at the forefront of your mind, whereas somebody else saw it a little different. Back in the days when your grandfather and father, even when I started, and maybe when you started, probably not you, you're kind of young, but maybe not when you started, but that kind of shit was handled in our firehouses. That didn't go.
That was handled right here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That didn't
That
go
was at the
outside of the
kitchen table.
firehouse. And now that the our little bit of local politics, however you want to call it, have become an invasive species into our service. Now that's where you get into, they're worried about saving face of the brand and the image of what it may be versus standing up and standing broad chested and saying, look at the end result and look at the end goal. We provided a service, and that's what we do. Might not be the best way you saw fit, but we did our jobs.
And
and
here's
then-
why I did it.
There
Yeah.
you go.
If
with
you
an
could answer that
explanation.
question,
Agreed.
you probably did the right thing.
Right.
Yeah. Even if it's not agreed upon, anybody can Monday morning quarterback.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
if you had a system of you made a decision because of this, this, and that, and you can articulate it, where's the problem?
Yeah.
You know, unless it was wrong, or like you said, you put somebody at risk, or you made something worse about the problem. Then all right, let's talk about that decision-making process. But I'd still be proud of you for making a decision instead of just
Yeah, the worst decision you can make is no decision,
No decision at all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that goes back. Don't even get me started on this.
Maybe we should get him started.
So
Yeah.
one of the biggest, when you talk about decision making, one of the biggest, and again, I was nobody in the fire service. I was not I'm not Bernasini by any means. But when departments start taking officer development and officer training and strategies and tactics away and substituting them for other things, that's when you become dangerous.
I think that's my mic drop walkout moment.
Yeah. No, I
So,
agree with you 100%.
great
When we
statement.
when
Great
we
statement.
stop supplementing, I don't care if he's the new guy on the fire truck. I feel like if I was the company officer, that's my job, is to explain to him why I'm making the decisions I did. That's how I grew up. I was, like I said, I was nobody in the fire service. But at the end of the day, I knew that my captain was making this decision, not only because we worked together and I was supposed to know it, but that was instilled in us. We sat around doing scenarios and understanding strategies and tactics and the science and the data. And yes, it's always changing. But when we start promoting people based on how well they can speak on the radio, or did they use the proper terminology based on their strategies and tactics and how they executed the event, we're going downhill.
And I'm going to chime in on that one. I mean, I'm looking at, I'm not a career fireman. I'm a volunteer. Been a volunteer for 10 years. Deputy chief where I'm at, I'm the youngest chief officer we've ever seen.
You know, that was just me talking shit earlier about talking about you were young, right?
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying. No, I'm fine with that. No, I am. But I mean, I'm the youngest chief officer where we're at. And the bad thing is on the volunteer side, like right now, I think I started at a decent time because we still had the older guys around that was willing to, that had the passion and the love, even though, it's not a career, it's not a full time. I mean, they were, this is your free time, a hobby, you want to call it, whatever. But they still had the passion and the love to do what was right and do the job. And they kind of, shaped and molded us as we started. I started at 14 as a junior. We had a little junior program at the fire department stuff. And, my dad was in and, different things. And they kind of shaped and molded us to that. And, I mean, I can say it's just as much fault of mine as anybody else. But at my certain department, I'm kind of the middle-age group. I mean, we have just a handful. I mean, just speaking of a handful of guys that are the older guys that's been there for, 15, 20, 30 years or so. And then, but everybody else, these kids are fresh out of high school pretty much. Most of them are 18, 19 years old, not counting the junior program, but as firemen. And the group, like, I'm not knocking the officers we have now. We have a really good group of officers. But the bad thing is we all have so many different ideas. I'm the second guy on the totem pole. But the chief is one of the older guys, and there's nothing wrong with the problems he has, but they're still old school, if you know what I'm saying, when the rest of your officers are my age. It's two different fire services we're talking about now. And I think that's kind of like he was talking about the generational gap and everything going on. The older guys now, I think they're gone. I mean, or they're leaving. Now it's kind of up to my age group to start, molding these other guys into it. And you see things that, you can kind of look at some people. I mean, I hate to put it like this, but you can kind of look at some people and tell, like, nah, they're not going to make it. They're not going to do it. Or some it's, oh, yeah, these guys are going to be great. And where we're kind of at right now is just trying to iron out that process. Because like you said, I think we're kind of losing our core values. Like, it's not like old school to good old boy system, that kind of thing, but we're kind of losing our values, and we're trying to please way too many people. Like, if one of our firemen make a decision, and they might get a complaint from the community over a decision they made, or another agency or something like that, and we sit down and some of the guys are like, oh, well, let's just spank their ass, like, let's get to. I'm like, nah, hold up. Like, let's hear both sides of the story here. Like, let's talk to, some other people that was on the scene. Let's talk. Let's do something. Let's find out, because, like, we had one instance for the other day. Is a routine. It was a false call. Nothing major. Older gentleman fell. EMS, everything showed up. We're on scene. They said, well, how much blood? How much? They said, oh, it's bleeding in there in the sunroom, stuff like that. Well, one of our first responders kind of bends down, our EMTs, kind of gives him a feel. He's got some dried blood on his face, stuff, things. He's like, oh, he's not bleeding. It's not that much blood. And to us, looking at it from a medical standpoint of, you step in and say, hey, oh, yeah, there's not that much blood. We're taking it as, okay, well, there's not that much blood. But then you step over here to the family side, and they're sitting there, and it's their loved one that's, on the ground, and they see a little blood, and it's
all the blood.
Yeah, it's all the blood.
They're going to die.
Yeah, he's bled out.
Yeah.
And so we got a complaint on that one. And we kind of, we've had some histories with these people. So, it's kind of iffy. It's one in you take with a grain of salt, like you walk that fine line. But, and in the end, it come down to, well, he didn't say what she thought he said. And I think that's where it's getting into the whole why we're losing people, is because we're not trying to keep them. I mean, literally, on the volunteer, the career side, you're getting compensation. You know what I'm saying? Like, still, the money ain't what you still need that heart and that passion for the job, but you're compensated. So if you're handing me that paycheck, I can deal with a little bit more than if I'm burning my fuel, I'm burning everything to show up here and try to do something, and then I'm getting smacked and kicked around every time I try to do something. I think we need to kind of, like you said, like, yes, they're, the patients, the home, whatever it may be, they should always be first. But we need to kind of take a step back also and look at our own guys and like just double check on it. But hey, man, you all right? You know, just see what's going on in their minds, because as an officer, you can sit there and make a decision all day, and you're going to have people that 100% agree with you. You're going to have some people that somewhat agree with you, and you're going to have guys that absolutely hate you. And whether or not, you just kind of ride that middle line and find the right decision that you think is correct. And with that, I don't think also we're not taking into consideration what do our guys think of what we're doing. And I think that's that's just my
Well, like we talked about the
thoughts.
other day, is a common goal.
Yeah.
What are our goals? Where are we going? Where are we headed? What's our drive? You know, what's we sit around and talk about the fire service all day at work, and I was asking them, like, you got XYZ problems, but what are your goals? Where are you at? What is your, if you're a volunteer department and answer to a board of directors or some kind of administration council, what, as an officer, I would be asking those guys, where are you wanting me to take this place? I can figure out how to get there, but where are you wanting me to take this? What is your goal? Do you want better response times? Do you want more trucks? Do you want more people? Do you want, let's set some goals and go after those as a team and be united versus everybody for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where the volunteer fire service is maybe lacking. And that comes from true leadership. And do we have true leadership?
Yep.
And understanding that, hey, I'm the fire chief and this is my firehouse, but I still have somebody to answer to. They've set my goals, and my goals are that we're going to get, 5 volunteers on the scene within 5 minutes. That's up to me to figure out whether we're buying them Learjets or scooters or what we're buying, how we're going to do that. But that's a goal they've set forth for me, and that keeps me focused. I don't have time to deal with this piddly crap he's talking about if I have a true goal and a passion and something I'm going after.
Do you think a lot of that could be handled a lot better from administration if they were just clear and transparent in their communication of what the expectations of them
100%.
themselves is? Like what
I'll take yes for 500, Bob.
if they were clear and transparent with the people below them on the organizational chart as to what the people above them on the organizational chart wanted from them, do you believe that would clear up some of those issues?
I'll take yes for 500, Bob.
Okay.
Oh
Please.
yeah, 100%. I mean, it's simple down to, like I said, it's not made me hate doing what I do, but it's made me second think what I do, because it comes down simple. And I'll just throw out another scenario, because we seem to be just ranting and talking here.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll throw out another
It's constructive
scenario.
conversation.
Yeah,
How dare you?
and and like you mentioned, like he mentioned, answering to a board or something like that, and that's all fine and well. Like, I'm down. You need those checks and balances. Like, you need that. Make sure things are flowing smoothly and working. But when I go to my board, and they're for 99% they're a financial board. That's what they deal with. And when I step to them and ask, like, hey, man, I need to get some gear for my guys, not only, am I speaking like, all right, on a safety and, risk-taking, everything else kind of network here, like, these guys need some new gear, which we're a very fortunate department. I can't beat my department down. We've got the biggest district in our county, we're where we're at, we're super blessed compared to some departments around us. But when I come and ask for stuff like that, I'm asking, but I'm not asking, because some of our guys, they take pride in that new gear, that new this, that new that, and then there's some that don't. But when I come and ask you for that as an officer coming to you, speaking for my firemen, and you look at me and ask why, what do you say to that? Like, why do I need to explain why we need a new truck? We need a new tool. We need a new gear. We need, down to a new TV in our, in our day room. Why do I need to explain myself out to you? And I think that's the whole kicker, because then I have to go back to my guys and be like, well, the board said no. I'm sorry, but the board said no.
That sounds like
we
an
can't do
easy.
that."
That's just a cop out of an answer from a chief officer, if you ask me. But I don't fault them for wanting to know why the justification of equipment. But I also expect the same from them. So when they want you to implement
Yep.
this new policy or this new something, and you ask why, I would expect the same in return.
Yep.
So.
It's the art of the deal, and that's what I mean. I've seen it pass through, not even just administrations that I've worked for, but other administrations too. You see guys that go in; they know how the deals are done. They know how the politics are handled. They know how the back door art of the deal has happened, and at what point do I feel like maybe some leadership is given up? You know how the deal's done. You know how it happens. You've seen it done. You've done it. Why did you stop now? And that comes with passion and really wanting for your guys and maybe job scared, or maybe there's 100 different things you can look at, but why aren't we making these deals anymore?
I'll tell you on the side of employee retention or volunteer retention.
Yeah.
Your two examples that you gave, like the medical call that had the complaint. If I'm the guy that got complained on, and the complaint goes past me to the chief, and then if I feel like the chief is seeking truth, I do want him to back me up, pretty much no matter what. Like, bro, have my back.
Yeah.
But I'll even accept just truth. Like if I do something on scene that's not right and it gets complained on, chief comes to me, hey, I did something that was not right. I can reconcile that. That's not, no,
I'll own that.
yeah, exactly.
I'm human.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I can perceive that my chief has truth as what he's looking for, he's got my loyalty.
Yep.
Like I'm in if I truly feel that things are handled right, not, a citizen complained, so I want to appease that complaint, so I'm going to punish you for something that you didn't do. That's that stuff that makes people shaky. But
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, when it goes back to it, we still operate on that good old boy system. You know what I'm saying? He's the chief. I'm his best friend. You know what I'm saying? You're getting that, and I don't
I'm not
like
chief anywhere.
Yeah,
Don't-
but you know what I'm saying here. Like,
Don't put that bad juju on me.
but like in any situation, that's kind of how I feel like we're operating. And I try to be fair with anybody that walks through that door, because if you've walked through that door to get on this department to try to do something, I feel like you've had somewhere in your life, in your heart, something's told you like, hey, I might want to check into this. And I feel like they deserve the respect of, just because maybe we don't see eye to eye outside that place, or even inside the doors, we don't see eye to eye. I still think I should seek the truth in it than just nailing this guy. And I think that's the problem, because, like I said, I can't really speak from career experience because I don't have it. But from where we are with that and the volunteer retention, I think that's the thing, my grandpa, my dad, my brother, whatever, all been on this department. Well, it's the same expectations kind of cross over, like you're here, you've been here, you've grew up in this place, you're one of the good old boys. But then you get, John over here that's off the street, and he's just like, man, that's something I've always wanted to do. And he walks in, well, he might not fit in with the rest of the guys. And I don't see the need in beating him down to where he doesn't want to be there anymore, just because, well, he's not one of the good old boys, so I'm not going to hold his, I'm not going to be behind him for that reason. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing.
So is the volunteer service losing mentorship?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I
I've
think
been out
that's
of the
paid side as
volunteer.
well.
I've been out of the volunteer side for several years, but now that he says that, I do see that. When you were brought on as new in the volunteer world that I came from, you got a mentor. That was your big brother, your whatever. I've been on both sides of that, and there were guys that maybe I was the big brother to that. It's like this guy just really gets on my nerves, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, it was up to me to succeed. And that wasn't about me. It wasn't about him. It was about the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
It was about the success and the future of the organization or of the people.
Yeah, I was going to say the citizens, somebody
Yeah.
that's in that car wreck or in that house fire.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what you can say or do or share with somebody that you know, every situation is different, but they may learn something from it.
I agree.
What do you think, Troy?
Ooh.
Get it.
Troy's in his own little world over there.
Check. Yeah, I think you're right on point.
He was dreaming on airplanes.
I think as a fire service as a whole, we're, you know, losing true leaders, because we're breeding the guys and gals that are going through the ranks to become managers, more or less, and not teaching these people to teach others, teach the future of the fire service.
And you use the right word. Managers and leaders are two different things.
Way
Correct.
different. And the fire service as a whole that's the route they're going. I can probably count on just my hands how many true leaders we have in our department, in my opinion. You know, you look at those folks and that are the leaders of the department, and they've done some things. You know, you everybody knows their name. You know, they know what they've done in the past. But you know, we're teaching our folks to become managers and not leaders, from what I've seen. So,
Do you think is us kind of probably halfway career guys, as in years 10 to 15 to 20, do you think that it's possible that we hold on to tradition and value that more over the nuance of the new generation coming in?
That's a good question, Bob. I'm gonna say half and half.
Okay.
I think tradition is always, it's no different than a history book. If you don't remember where you came from, you'll never move forward. Do we have bad traditions? Do we have bad history? Were you a perfect person when you were 7 years old? No, you weren't. You probably stole some bubble gum from some kid. Whatever it is. Tradition, I think, should always be carried on because that's where we came from. That's who we are. We may be interstate now, but we started out as a dirt road. You can't forget that. That's where we're going from. At the same time, I think that service bracket you're talking about, that's also your job to pick that up and relay that. The one thing I did love about our particular department was the first day in the fire academy, recruit academy, whatever you want to call it. The first day you learned about the history. You learned where it came from. Was all of it pretty? No, it wasn't. It was all cool. If you don't eat that up, I don't know. If you can't appreciate your department's history, then I don't know that you're in the right job. But we do have to tailor. We've got to, I think at some point you do get set in your ways, and is in that 10 to 20 year mark, is it that 30-year-old salt dog that always is going to eat at the same chair at 11:30 and watch the same TV show?
Right.
Is that right, wrong, or indifferent? No, that's cool. But we do have to evolve. Times are changing. Generations are changing. How we're raised is changing. There's a thousand different things that are changing. Is that, again, right, wrong, or indifferent? Well, my opinion really doesn't matter on that. That's up to me to raise my kids how I want to. That was your parents' choice. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to bend, but we're going to have to be firm too. Keep the values, understand what we did, but be progressive enough to include the next guy. We just may have to. I look at it like this: like I coach football for 6, 7, 8 year olds. Okay, do I coach football like I was coached when I was 7 years old? No, I don't. But I've had to bend and mold and get them we're still playing football. We're still winning games. We're still running touchdowns. But we're not necessarily playing football the exact same way I was brought up. So it's a give and take. There are some things that I'm firm on. You know, if y'all fight on the football field, you're going to run a love lap. That's what I learned at 7 years old playing football. Same thing in the fire service. We've got to be firm but bendable and moldable. And that's no different whether you go to a different volunteer fire department, whether you get assigned a different crew, whether you get a promotion. There's always going to be something different you're going to have to change. You can't say you've been the same guy every day you showed up at work all through your career for all the different companies and assignments and captains you work for and chiefs you work for or anything like that. I don't think anybody can say that. So it's a little reality check too there.
Tradition is our strongest safety. So we got a friend. You guys don't know him yet. You will. Eric Moon, Rescue 2B shift captain. He explained to me one time this thought he has on if you got 20 years in, you can be 20 years of experience, or you can have repeated 1 year of experience 20 times.
Yeah.
20 times.
Yeah, and that's different. So if you see it as our greatest safety, tradition is this thing that keeps the line, keeps things from changing too much back and forth. And it's like the easiest way to remember what you're supposed to do. Like traditionally we do this. We're going to evolve, we're going to shift, but it slows down. Imagine if every year we responded to calls differently because we got a new person that wants to do it this way with no knowledge of the history of why we have always done it this way. Yeah. So tradition is important. I think it's the thing that keeps us safe the most is years of learning that keep us in line. And then if we need to shift a little bit, knowledge is power. There's reasons to learn and to change, but that tradition, it's there for our own safety. In most cases, you know, if you have that 20 years of real experience, then you've seen tradition and how consistency has kept people saving lives and being safe. And then you've learned and shifted along the way. But if you came and just took a fresh look every 1 year, you don't even know where you've come from. Yeah. So yeah, tradition is so important. I think it catches a bad rap. Anybody that's wanting to change something is gonna shit talk tradition. Like, oh, you just don't want change. Like, no, this has worked for hundreds of years. Show me why it's important to change. And that slows down that process, makes it not so flippant and easy to make a huge mistake.
I agree. We've identified several problems with the fire service and several issues that we all see indifferently or the same. But what are some solutions? What are some of our hopes for the future? Justin, let's start with you. What's your hope? What keeps you wanting to keep banging out the most one-off superior leather products for people who beat the streets like us?
Well, I think for the fire service, the solution would be that we can take some of the maybe not the right word, but like the political correctness of just go do your damn job. Get back to that. That would be my hope. Where you can go do your job. Compensation is going to have to come up, or we're not going to attract people. How do you expect somebody to come ride a fire truck for, say, $35,000 a year when they go to Chick-fil-A and make $19 an hour, saying it's my pleasure and handing you chicken nuggets? So I hope that we can find a way to solve those problems. We've always been the ones that have stepped up and always took on the new task, the new challenge. We figured it out. We've been innovative. We've been good to the people, and the people have been good to us too. But you're going to have to get some of the buy-in from the municipalities or the counties or whoever's affecting that budget, to where these guys can have a good, decent living riding a truck. My other hope would be 25-year retirement. I've always said, teachers, I love them to death. You can teach for 30 years and not have a hurt back and worn out knees and
Mush brains.
shoulders and mush brains and the whole psychological side of things. And I'm not saying by any means teachers have the best job in the world. I'm very appreciative of them, but it seems like, especially in North Carolina, with some of the legislative, even going back to the 80s, the teachers have always been the one that kind of held us back a little bit on that. So I would like to see, some 25-year stuff out there for the guys, where it's a little easier on your body, a little easier to kind of go off and do something else once you put in your time.
Agreed.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
T. Roy?
You got some hopes, homie?
I did, but then I just lost it. Bouncing off of Justin's ideas, I think we've moved very fast, with drone programs and new tasks, as what we were talking about earlier, and taking on all those new things and ideas for the community. I think if we just slow down and, like we said earlier, be good at what we're good at, narrow that down into our, natural abilities or jobs, I guess, in the fire service, and be good at those and worry about those. And I think naturally, the community they're going to be okay with that. We won't have to protect that image or make sure it's okay. I think naturally, if we stick with our guns and are good at what those ideas are or whatever, the community is going to love it, So as far as protecting the image, that won't be an issue if we just do that, I think.
Are you suggesting that we let performance be the picture for our logo or for our brand?
Yeah.
Are you suggesting such a thing? How dare you?
I like it. Yeah.
The Phoenix motto.
How dare
Just
you?
a little bit. Just a
How
little
dare
bit.
you? He's gonna,
So that's really, that's what it comes down to, I think. So,
Evolution of leadership.
yeah, like Kekel said, do your damn job. So
Jabs.
Jabs.
simple as that. And be good at it, Be good at it. Have fun with it, have passion, and just be good at it. And then secondly, teach the younger generation, because they got to have something to fall back on, or they got to have something backbone wise, that they got to learn from. And that in turn will keep the tradition here.
Yeah.
So.
I tell the new guys in our department, be good at car wreck type stuff, structure fire stuff, and medical calls with children.
And cleaning.
Focus, yeah. But if you don't know what to focus on, give me
Yeah.
those three, and then we'll work on the rest as they come. But make sure that you're not going to ruin one of those right out of the gate.
Yeah.
They're new.
Don't show up to the Super Bowl without your cleats
Yes. Yep. I like it.
perfect.
or your gloves
I'll leave that. I'll leave that one alone.
on an apartment fire.
KD.
Yeah, they've pretty much said everything I was going to say or thinking about saying. It's just, let's take a step back. Figure out like you said where we need to be as an entire service. Stop the power grabbing, stop the all that. I want to be this, I want to be that. Like, let's get good at what we do. And if you excel in one thing, promote, get your thing, do your thing. But let's not focus on wanting to be in a leadership role or wanting to be, somewhere else, that we lose track of what we're here to do. Let's not focus on, I want to be a captain on this truck, I want to be this, I want to be that, so bad that you're going after the power, you're going after the, any other aspect that you kind of forget where you are and where you've come from, how you started, stuff like that. I think with what they said, and if we just take a step back and improve ourselves, I think we'd be golden.
Perfect. Before we end this, because I got to get you guys back to the airport. See how fast time flies in this place?
Mm-hmm.
Never believe it, huh? What's the future for Fully Involved Leatherworks?
Oh, that's a
State of course, or are we
Yeah.
scaling? What we doing here?
no. That's a good question. So we are growing. Matter of fact, we're gonna hire in process that's still ongoing as we speak. Add a new guy. As much like we kind of talked about, I've always been accused of kind of riding with the brakes on as far as growth. And I do that for a couple reasons. And Troy kind of made me think of this a little bit ago, but we get requests all the time. Hey, can you make this? Hey, can you make that? The answer is yes, we can make it. The answer is no, we're not going to make it. And here's why. Because we're riding with the brakes on. I don't want to invent a new product, put it through the R&D, all that other stuff, send it out to these guys, and we're just jamming them with new stuff, and they forget what we're good at. We're really good at what we're good at. And as we add something in, I want to be really great at what we're doing. Me and him literally wasted an entire day yesterday playing around with some new concepts of some different stuff that was freaking turned out awesome. I left it in my truck at the airport, or we'd have it here today. But we're always just trying to have something get better, and then we can add more. So the future, yeah, we're going to grow. That's endless. It's gonna. I can promise you, it will be at a controlled rate. We're really good at what we do. We have the lowest lead times, the highest reviews from customers of any other country or any other company in the country. We are going to be that, and we'll always be that. We're going to have that customer service that we've always had and will continue to have. That's the tradition of our business, and we won't forget that.
Sure.
And we'll always build on that. To sit down and say where we'll be, how many more products we'll have next year, that kind of all goes with the flow,
Right.
And we'll go from there. But yeah, we hope to be around for a long time. I don't. It's my baby, and I like rocking it how I want to. It's fun. We have a good time at work. We've got a great group of guys that will go to hell and back for me. Don't really even have to ask them to. That's just what they want to do. And we were talking about that a little bit the other day at the shop. One of the candidates for a job said, well, where do you see yourself? What's your goal with this business? And I said, well, I have it written down, and we usually hit about 75% of our goals every year that I have written down. And that goes back to that planning like we talked about earlier. But, at the end of the day, I want to be able, if I die tomorrow, I want every one of my employees, every one of my customers to show up at my funeral and say, you know what, he was a good guy and he cared about me. And from that, if I'm a multi-billionaire, great. If I'm, broken, living in a cardboard box, I'm cool with that too.
Right.
At the end of the day, that stuff doesn't really trigger me. Showing my goal, but I just want to be good at what we do, stay in the industry, have a good name.
Just for the record, I'm never going to say that about you, much less at your funeral.
Okay,
ever.
good.
Yeah.
Good. But yeah, I mean that's kind of where we're going. We've got some things in our pocket we're going to come out with and
Good.
Here hopefully before Christmas and combat some of the what's the word for it? Uneducated, trying to appear educated marketing.
Heard that.
Cancer is a big thing in the fire service. We're going to address that and address it the right way.
Cool. Let's get you back
And-
down here to talk about it
Yeah.
sometime.
Yeah. I don't know how I'll get here. It's a long walk. Maybe Troy could fly me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I don't want to rush you guys out of here. We got to get some pictures and stuff before we all leave.
Yeah.
But Justin, KD, Troy, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank y'all so
It's
much
been
for
fun.
making
We
the
always enjoy it.
long trip down. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it. How
Yeah.
can people find you if they don't
Yeah.
know you already?
Anywhere. So fullyinvolvedleatherworks.com. It's our website. We also have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'm going to work on this TikTok thing before I leave. Email, carrier pigeon. We take anything. Give us
Send
a
it.
call, 704-799-9938. However you want to get in touch with us, we'd love to take care of you. 1, 2, 1,000, whatever it is.
Perfect.
We'd love to
Nice.
help you out.
Boys, thanks for coming.
Yeah, we
Yeah, man,
appreciate it.
appreciate you guys having us, and it's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Cool.
Nice.